Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about Too Close to the Falls, which is a biography / memoir of Katherine Gildener. This explains her life from her young age to her teenage years. Now, Katherine Gildener was born in the 1950s, and she grew up close to Niagara Falls, she grew up in Lewiston, New York, which is pretty close to Niagara Falls. And so, this is a quote from her book. I seem to have been born eccentric, a phrase my mother uttered frequently as a way of absolving herself of responsibility. By today's standards, I would have been labeled with attention deficit disorder, a hyperactive child born with some adrenal problem that made her more prone to rough and tumble play than was normal for a girl. Fortunately, I was born 50 years ago and simply called bossy and busy, the professor of an Irish temper. She was a very bossy and crazy little girl. She decided that she wanted to begin working for her dad at his pharmacy at the age of 4. And she then met Roy, which became one of her best friends. And they would go on adventures together. They would also deliver medicines together. So, the pharmacy took them many places because they would deliver the medicines to the people who asked for it. Roy, the driver, and I, the assistant who read the road maps and prescription labels, were dogged as we plowed through snowstorms and ice jams to make our deliveries. The job took us into mansions on the Niagara Escarpment to the home of DuPont, who invented nylon to deliver hypodermic needles to a new doctor on the block, Dr. Jonas Salk, an upstart who thought he had a cure for polio, to Marilyn Monroe on the set of Niagara, to the poor Indians on the Tuscarora Reservation, and to Worty, who lived in a refrigerator box in the town dump. The people we delivered to felt like my family, and my soulmate in this experience was Roy. So they had a lot of interesting visits and adventures. And Kathy was a very adventurous child. And she would always like to test her limits, even when she was young to her teenage years. And throughout her teenage years, she was actually born and raised a Catholic child. And so one of the priests, which was Father Roderick, she was introduced to, they actually ended up having some intimate meetings, which made her feel uncomfortable. And it changed a lot of things for her. They had danced seductively. He had actually given her some wine, which had made her a little tipsy, and they ended up dancing, and she didn't realize what was going on until a little later. And so once she figured out that had happened, she had ran out the door and left, and she had gone close to the falls. And so the falls roared and the whirlpools made sucking noises as though everything were being pulled under. Mist covered my eyes and everything was melting and blurred. When I got near the edge, the gush of the falls was deafening, and I could see that the water in the river was traveling at a dizzying rate. I leaned against a tree and held on, and even though I'd stopped moving, I still felt pulled, mesmerized by the twirling water. I felt magically drawn toward the vortex of the spinning whirlpools. So, as you can tell just from this little section of things that I have read to you, that she was a very adventurous and funny child, and this book was actually really interesting to read because you got to understand Catherine and her background and all of the adventurous things her and Roy would do, and also how her friend Miranda was in her life. Thank you.